Welcome everyone, this is Pine Leaf Niels and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Andang,
Hey everybody.
Atheros,
Hoi hoi.
Draculetta,
Greetings, everybody.
Sithrith,
Hello.
and please everyone welcome for, how long has it been, Lily Kate?
An age.
Yes,
It's been
and
at
back
least
in the second
23
age.
episodes.
Well, now you're all saved because I am back.
Does that mean you have
And
an
with good
internet that
internet.
finally works?
Possibly not. We shall see.
Yes, I remember what happened at rehearsal today.
Oh, yeah. That
Yes.
was a disaster.
All right, let's go into the game news, and we'll begin with Update 15 Hotfix 1, which had some few updates. Ethros, what were the updates in Hotfix 1?
When the page loads, I'll tell you.
There's a whole lot of nothing, really.
There
Yeah,
is
pretty
page.
much. The most important thing I can see was fixing a squeaky note on the clarinet.
Definitely.
Yeah, that is one of the things. Yeah.
I raised my hands to the fixing of the squeaky note.
There was also a fix for Mac users, which apparently they were crashing. There's still a whole lot of issues with the Mac release at the moment, but that's one of the things they did fix. They did also do a little change to the Beornings, where depending on what facial tattoo you have, it will show on the bear. Which, from what
Which
I've
is pretty
seen in
cool.
screenshots, it is pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks very cool. I'm glad. I wish they'd add even more customization to the Beorning bear form.
Yeah.
Make
but
it almost like
it's-
Warsteed customization, but without like armor instead,
Yeah.
like cosmetic stuff.
And
That'd be
without-
really cool.
Super expensive
Yeah,
die pack.
yeah.
There's some fixes to the epic battle itself. Some of the side objectives that wouldn't complete when you did the objectives for it. Those are fixed now, allegedly. There's nothing really much else of that aside from little bits and pieces here and there.
I was surprised how little was in here, considering how many problems there are that I've found with this update. So, I don't know.
Most of the problems seem to be in either the epic battle or the music system.
Yeah, I don't know. I expect a little bit more, and I guess the epic battle getting fixed supposedly helps, but I don't know.
Well, hopefully there will be a patch, but I have a feeling a lot of this stuff isn't going to be fixed until 15.1, but I hope some of it gets fixed in 15.01 instead.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. All right, and we also have a little message from Turbine saying, "Season greetings from Turbine." They are asking us to make sure that our addresses are correct in our address profile because you never know what may be found at the Turbine offices that may be sent to us. And Draculetta, I believe, had 3 words in response to this.
What?
Perfect replication of what you said before.
Yep.
I tried. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to pull it off or not, but
Yeah.
Way better than when you try to count like Draculetta. My goodness.
hey now. No, the thing that I find odd about this is they didn't specify they wanted to make sure your email address was correct. They want to make sure your mailing address is correct, which I find just very, very odd.
Yeah, that is really odd. And they said things laying around the office, so it's not like it's, codes that they'd send over the mail, so.
Right.
Here's
And
a
they
paperclip.
also further down in the thread.
Let's see, we got some paper clips, a pencil, throw in Sapiens' old computer, okay.
They did state further down in the thread that it didn't matter if you were international or not either.
Whoa.
Which is
Which
good.
makes it even
Ooh.
stranger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which I was going to say that's very.
It makes
very-
me think it's just gonna be some kind of
Code.
letter, card, something not
Christmas card or something like that. Yeah.
package size.
Which isn't an inherently bad idea, but I think
Yeah.
priorities are something to.
Yeah, and
It's
I don't know how, I hope this was in plan before update 15. I hope this wasn't
Right.
just like a knee-jerk, we need good news.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how I took it, as they're just trying to do anything to get some positive PR. So we'll do this, and people will talk about it, and people will like us again. Is how I took it. I could
Well,
be wrong.
we'll have to see when it comes out, because when it comes
Right.
out, we'll see whether it's something that looks like it's been planned for 6 months or if it's something that was thrown together in 3 days.
Well,
And I did.
I hope they point out what they are giving away once they actually give it away.
Well,
So
here,
once
here's
they
the other
The
thing,
know,
though.
horseshoe.
Here's the other thing, though. They don't even necessarily say that everybody's going to be getting something. They
well, I
just
don't
said,
think everyone's going to be getting something. I think it's just going to be
Right.
a few people, and
Like a Hobbit present.
I hope that they at least say everybody
real
gets
life
Hobbit
Hobbit
presents. I just hope that they actually tell us what they're giving out, because I'd hate for them to just like send stuff in the mail and then nobody ever finds out about it really, except for the couple that post on Twitter or something.
hmm
All right. And the third bit of news from Turbine, it concerns player-run events, on what the official stance on support of player-run events is, because they obviously didn't have an official stance before, because we're getting some rather inconsistent results. And I guess everybody's asking now is, does this mean they'll actually do something, which is the big question people seem to be having at the moment. Is that guess right? Lily Kate, you seem to be the one who's more into player run events than anyone else here.
Yeah, well, at the moment, all is quiet on the LOTRO front on Landreval, so we might not get any answers during this
Oh,
show. But yeah, we had a particular issue that we weren't actually having it addressed when we were sending private communications to the powers at LOTRO. So some of us actually took to starting off an official thread in the LOTRO forums, and that got a lot of attention, which did help to clarify in writing a stance on griefing. So we've had clarification that in serious business areas we will actually have some specific support where we've had an issue with certain behaviours of one or two people who have been disrupting our concerts. Generally, our question was griefing in general. It wasn't just, I mean, it was related to our particular play style, but across the board, we've got this code of conduct which we've all agreed to, and yet it doesn't seem to be being enforced actually on the ground, so to speak. And they've actually come back and issued a statement saying that, yeah, they will be looking at different ways that they can help support player-run events, and that they're looking at some kind of auto dismount in serious business areas. And of course, they've gone down a common sense approach, which is what I like in particular, where obviously if somebody decides to hold a concert right next to an NPC, a quest giver, or the workbench, then yeah, they're not going to jump on everybody that stops right close to you. But if we're actually having somebody who's grieving with malicious and prolonged intent to spoil other people's playtime, then they will hopefully act.
right. Whatever you do, do not schedule your important concert during the anniversary event on the metal stage.
Well, if you like being blown up, why not?
Right, being blown up, yes.
Yeah. I don't know anybody that would actually schedule a concert on Metal Stage during a time when there's a festival and the
Yeah,
Metal
yeah,
Stage is actually being used. But yeah, that would be silly.
that would be silly.
I might do one now.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Well, it's been bad enough as if you're trying to. I remember a couple times we've been doing rehearsals, I think, on the metal stage, and between songs where someone who's doing the quest where you have to shoot off a firework jumps onto the stage, shoots off a firework, then jumps off.
Yeah, and I don't think
But that's
anybody's
fine.
said anything to anybody who's just going about the normal gaming business.
Right, yeah, just going about the
In
normal
fact,
game
it's
business.
fun when, you know, people come
When-
and they're surprised by, God, there's 24 people on this stage. What are they doing? But, yeah, it's just because we was getting quite a lot of silence when we was trying to have a dialogue with people. But now they've come out with this statement. We hope to see, you know, a positive effect on people's game time, because
Right.
it's no fun when you schedule a concert and then somebody comes and deliberately tries to ruin it. It's not very nice.
Of course, we are first going to have a music system that's good enough to regularly schedule concerts.
Or very clever arrangers.
Yeah, or a clever arrange. Yes, like you're trying to do for the uh, Brandywine concert coming up later this month.
Oh yeah, so that handful of we were testing a handful of songs today to take to Brandywine for a special concert, and I basically I striked through with my red pen half of them easily because
Yes.
yeah, wasn't good, was it?
Oh yeah, there are some that sounded like, "Ooh, let's save it for another month or whenever they have these. Hopefully, they fix the system completely in the next update."
Fingers crossed.
Yes. Let's go into the store sales. Draculator, what's on sale this week?
Free
Is it something
sample.
good?
No, not really.
Oh.
Well,
Better
some
than
of it's
normal.
okay.
Better than
Yeah,
normal.
free sample of the week through the 20th is a combination. Who really cares? You get one of those. Use coupon code RELCOM, RELCOM. Once again, the coupon code is RELCOM. You get one of those per account. Choose wisely. 20% off quest packs, which is pretty amazing. Mithril coins, I wouldn't really buy them, but whatever, it's up to you. 100% XP boost for an hour, and max and morale power scrolls.
God, no, please don't.
Yeah, I get those out of about every other Hobbit present, so please don't buy those with actual turbine points.
Right. Yeah, I think usually if you want
And I should note
prestige food.
too that in the quest packs that does not include the new quest pack. Just in case anybody was wondering, I had a couple of people ask me on Twitter
It's
about
to be
that,
expected, I guess.
yeah, no, it does not include Central Gondor yet.
Yeah,
Does
Which
it include
I'm
West, though?
yes,
Oh, okay, then.
but I'm assuming we're probably going to get another Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale in a couple weeks. So I'm kind of assuming that's when that one might go on sale.
well,
Because
we'll
it
see that.
seems like last year they had a couple quest packs that were a pretty good deal on Black Friday and the Cyber Monday, which here in the United States is coming up in about a week and a half. So we'll see.
Right, there'll be a week and a half based on the time which people will be listening to this on the podcast
Correct.
version.
Yes. Yep.
All right, so let's go into the site news and we'll begin with the new music system, a work in progress. And I think we almost talked about that already. Anything else to add, Lily?
Yeah, this post is basically an example for everybody's ears, so they can see how a piece sounds when I've transcribed it in Maestro, although sometimes I use a different converter as well. So you can hear the volume levels and all the notes and all the right pitching. And then there's a recording using the same equipment of us playing this piece pre U15, and then another one post U15, and of course there's a little blurb under each of them that basically lists most of the known problems, and you can see after U15 the list is much longer. So, but it's worth a listen. Some people say they don't mind if it sounds a little awful, but to me, I would like it to sound as close to the Maestro version as possible in game.
Now, I had to say that after today, I don't think this one sounds as bad as some of the other pieces I heard today.
Well, you see, some of the pieces are they're basically experiments because I was
Right.
adjusting some volume levels,
Right.
and some of them worked, some of them didn't. Some of them I'm going to take back and tweak a little bit more and bring back for testing again. But at the end of today's session, we should have at least an hour's worth of music we can bring to concert. And that's why there was 2 hours worth of testing.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So
guys.
you could throw out half of it.
Yeah, and then I went LinkedIn. That didn't
And
help.
it linked it at the end. Well, your internet died.
We had a storm and the
Oh,
house just
ouch.
went completely pitch dark, and that was me and AOCell. So yeah, not the best timing, really, was it?
Well, it could have been worse. It could have been in the middle of the concert.
Exactly.
Yes. All right. So let's go into LOTRO Players Adventures, episode 37, Interrupting Mirkwood. Ending. I guess you don't remember why we called it that.
I do. It's because of those interrupting times that you gave towards me, Pineleaf.
Ooh. That was
Ooh.
And people voted on the title and thought that it sounded good with interrupting Mirkwood. So there you go.
was that the week where the gates kept closing on us?
Yeah, I think so. That was just last
So-
week. I don't know.
That is appropriate. Interrupting our boss fights.
Yep, there was a lot of interruptions that happened during this episode.
Ah, yes. Well, that's typical in that particular series. So let's go into our poll then. And the question is, would you like to see more classes added to LOTRO? Now we have 10 classes now. Would you like to see any new ones? And Andang, what's the result of this week's poll?
Yes, well, this week there were actually 230 voters, and 129 of them, 56%, said yes, they do want to see a new class added to LOTRO. That's kind of surprising towards me. I didn't expect it to be majority yes, but I think people are enjoying the Bjorning, and they might want to see more. There were a lot of comments about they need to fix a lot of things before they add in another class, or we just got the Bjorning, why would we want a new class anytime soon? Stuff like that, but this is just kind of... It's a very open question, and so I think a lot of people seem to want a new class at some point in LOTRO. 38% did say no, and other got 6%, and a lot of that was what I just mentioned. So it was interesting to say the least. How about the rest of you? Do you want to see a new class added at some point to LOTRO?
New stuff is good. I'm not obviously particularly invested in a new class myself because I don't really level from scratch anymore. But if other people would want it, I'm not hugely opposed, assuming the rest of the game is in decent enough shape that you're not releasing it into a broken game.
Yeah. My main thing is if the Bjorning makes them enough money to fund like a lot of other projects being done, and it makes up for the time the employees spent plus some extra profit on the side, I think that doing new classes would be good because it might help LOTRO keep going longer. And so I think that would be good because it seems like a lot of people bought the Bjorning.
Quite a lot, I think. I don't know anybody that hasn't bought it or isn't going to buy it. I'd like new classes, but I didn't vote on this poll because there wasn't the option to say if it's done well or if it's done U15 standard.
Yeah, and that was a lot of the other comments as well.
Yeah, I would have just ticked if it's done well. Yeah, I'd love to see, more options, more play.
All right.
Very well, then let's go into our LOTRO video highlights, The People of Middle Earth. And what's this all about, Andang?
Yes, well, I usually do the show notes, but this week I didn't, so it looks like people put all my segments together, so I just get to keep on talking. Alright, this week the video highlights were The People of Middle Earth, and this is actually from the Beyond the Shadows bonus content that came with the collector's edition of Shadows of Angmar, and then it was released to the public later in 2009. And basically, it talks about the people of Middle Earth, including the different races, also the NPCs, and also the players. And I thought it was really interesting to hear how important they valued the players at the launch of the game, and it was very interesting to hear all the different things that they were doing for players and stuff like that. And so I think if you're a LOTRO fan and you want to see how Turbine thinks of players, at least at their launch, then I definitely recommend checking this out.
All right, very well. Then we'll now go into Tim Hedden's article on the family line. He's up to part 18, A Burden Lifted. Anyone have any comments on this?
It's still awesome.
Okay,
Yeah.
still.
After 18 parts, it still has a lot of stuff going on, and still there's amazing screenshots. I can't believe how many amazing screenshots are still in this series.
You just have to give props to actually keeping this going for 18 parts, because I
Yeah.
can say from experience that maintaining something like this takes a lot of dedication.
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially with
getting
the
all those.
especially with a fan fiction series. I don't know very many that go 18 parts. That's very impressive, having that long of a story.
All right, then let's head on to our news beyond Lotro, and we'll begin with the Hobbit Fan Fellowship Contest Diaries. What on earth is that?
It does sound very weird, but if you guys remember, back I think it was introduced in Desolation of Smog, maybe a little bit earlier, but they announced that fans would be able to get, if they won the contest, if they proved that they were this big Tolkien fan, they would be brought to New Zealand and given a tour of all these different places, and also be able to preview the Battle of the Five Armies with Peter Jackson in a movie theater. And this is a documentary going behind all this stuff because there are already people who have seen the Battle of the Five Armies. And it's these biggest fans that won this contest. How crazy is that? It's over a month away still, and people have already seen the new Hobbit film.
And we haven't heard yet on whether or not they liked it or
Well, I'm sure
crying
that
or
there's
anything like
plenty of
that.
NDAs attached to it,
Yeah, I
but
was gonna
they
say-
do
Well,
at
yeah, there are
the end of
probably
the
plenty of
NDAs involved there.
at the end of the video they did have some people saying they liked it. One person said that it was from start to finish a like giant rush, which makes sense because there's going to be 45 minutes of battle scene plus the whole whatever's going on at Dol Guldur fight, and then there's the actual fight with the dragon and all that stuff. And so I mean, the
So
majority
you
of the
got 3
movie is
battle
just going to be
scenes.
fight scenes. So I can definitely, I imagine this is going to be the most action-packed one by far. So at the very least, we can see Jackson doing what he does best. But this series in particular was very interesting, seeing all the things that these fans got to do, and it was really cool to see the different areas, plus also being able to see them watch the film with Peter Jackson and some of the reactions they had.
All right, very well. And speaking of the Battle of Five Armies, they have received their first TV spot. And I know it's strange that having read the books that I would avoid watching this due to the possibility of spoilers, but that's what I did. So so Andy, is it full of spoilers?
Well, the trailer was kind of full of spoilers. This is kind of full of spoilers, but it's nothing that's like major spoilers. That was there. It's not any more spoilery than the trailer. So if you watch the trailer that came out recently, there's this as well. A lot of the scenes are the same. There were a few new extra scenes. So if you want to see a couple more tidbits that you didn't get to see in the trailer, then this TV spot is a good thing to watch. The second TV spot, which came out literally hours after I posted this article, actually there were no new scenes that weren't either in this spot or in the trailer in the second TV spot. So that was kind of disappointing, but at least in this first one there were some new things.
All right, very well. And I just hope it's not one of those cases where the trailer is better than the movie or something like that.
Yeah. In the trailer, there's some very surprising things that were like there's story elements that were crafted by Jackson that seemingly have conclusions in the trailer. At least that's what we're kind of led to believe. So I was surprised some of the stuff they showed in that trailer because it was very spoilery. And
All right. Let
normally Jackson actually tries to hide spoilers in his trailers, so that kind of surprised me.
All right. Let's go on to Eorgro's Mary Belly's new series, The Origins of Evil, in talking about the first Dark Lord. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go and read his article to learn about the lore of the first Dark Lord.
There we go then.
Yep, okay, that's it.
I have to say though, it's awesome some of the lore in Tolkien, I especially like learning about the fact that, the first time I learned that Sauron was not the biggest evil was, an oh wow moment. And he does a great job covering the lore behind who is the biggest evil, and some of the stuff that he does, which I'm sure that he'll be covering in later parts, is just amazing how terrible it is. And so, if you guys are interested to find out how much worse the real villain is in Middle Earth, then I recommend checking this out.
Oh, yes. If you've ever read the Silmarillion, yes, you will get an idea of some of the things that he did.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the worst thing he did for the Third Age people was to train Sauron to be his replacement someday.
Yep.
Let's go into our questions and our donations. And this week we do not have any Patreon mentions, but we would love your support. To help support LOTRO players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you will find rewards, including a mention on the podcast of your choice, or be a guest appearance on the LOTRO Players News or Adventures. As for feedback, this week we did not receive any iTunes reviews. All right, let's see if we can get some, but we do have some featured comments. Thalen left us a comment on this week's poll, and Sithrid, could you read this?
Mm-hmm. Thalen writes, I am not sure what new classes could be developed, but I was wondering if there might be room for improved or elite classes through rep. In the books, Pippin offers his service to Denethor and becomes a guard of the Citadel, and Merry swears fealty to Theoden and becomes an esquire to the king. Could our characters max out rep and then swear fealty to an important leader, or join an order to gain appropriate additional skills, or a block of skills to allow players to go deeper in their secondary trees, unique equipment, and cosmetics? Examples, minstrels and other healing classes could join the houses of healing and gain some new healing skills. Not magic users, could join the Library of Minas Tirith and benefit from its ancient lore with additional skills. Leaders like Denethor with the Tower Guard, Faramir with Rangers of Ithilien, Prince Imrahil, along with Aragorn and Theoden, could offer new martial skills after the player joins their personal guard. It would allow for high-level characters to feel more special, reward the rep grind, offer some role-playing aspects, and allow a slightly new class without leveling up from 0. Oh, and of course, new epic battle skills for Drac.
Oh, good grief.
So,
Thanks.
I had to get that in there.
I kind of have
Thanks
my
for that.
thoughts on this, but I want to hear your guys' thoughts first. What do you think about this system, assuming Turbine had enough resources to actually carry it out?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's an interesting idea. I think personally I'd be just happy with having a new class quest that gives you like some cosmetics or like some items or something like that. Because it's been so long since we've had
Oh boy,
a new
yes.
class quest. And they've promised it like 2 or 3 expansions in a row.
It's been, what, since level 60?
Yeah.
Yeah, the last one is level 60.
Like, it doesn't even need to give us that amazing stuff. Just something like that has like a lore tie-in or has us use certain abilities. Just something interesting quest like that. I'd be happy with that alone.
Yeah, I think my thing is they have such a track record of introducing new systems and then not fleshing them out all the way that I wouldn't. But even I wouldn't be interested. But even if they did like actually fully flesh it out, I think there's just so many systems and so many layers of complexity already in the game that at this late in the game's stages, I don't think it would really be worth it.
Yeah, it would,
Yeah.
doing this would almost be like what they did when they simplified quote unquote the LI system and then they added in the starlit crystals and stuff like that. So it's like, they simplified it and then they added in something else. I think it would be kind of the same thing, but at the same time, how cool would it be to, be like Merry and Pippin and joining those places or joining the Houses of Healing or something like that? That'd be
I mean,
amazing.
the concept isn't bad. I think you could maybe use that concept of like say Sweden fealty to whatever.
Yeah, I think
becoming a bit.
let's say instead of like an entire tree or something like that, maybe like your final capstone once Mordor is defeated or something like that. Or
something like that.
something like that. Where or maybe, just a single like epic legendary skill or something like that that you only get one of, but it's really awesome when you get it.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
But yeah, I really kind of wish that this was somehow a thing that Turbine added into the game. Just I agree with you guys though. Once you guys pointed out that Turbine's not exactly the best in adding new systems. Plus they did just recently simplify the class system. Yeah, I don't know. I'm less confident on wanting this now.
All right. We did not have any emails this week, which means no origin story either. But you can contact us by emailing us at podcast@lotroplayers.com, and you can also follow us on Twitter. The Players Alliance @PlayersAlly, Lotro Players @LotroPlayers, Andang @PVMP_Andang, Braxwolf @Braxwolf, Sithrith @Sithrith, Draculetta @Draculetta_72, Etheros @Etheros, Lilykate @LilyKateBuggins, Mystery @MysteryXOX, and Pineleaf @PineleafNeedles. And the Lotro Players has the Lotro Players Alliance. The Players Alliance has 2 live shows every week. On Mondays at 8:30 p.m. server time, we have DDO Players News, and at Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. server time, we have Lotro Players News, and server time is United States Eastern Time. And you can join us for our live shows at lotroplayers.com/live. You can also join us on Langeville for Lotro Players Adventures each Saturday at 5 p.m. server time. Thank you everybody for listening. That's all for tonight, and this is Pineleaf Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.